Woo! We are live today with Lunch Break Live. We have an extraordinary chef, Fran Costigan. What are you making today?
I'm making chocolate truffles,
Woo!
vegan chocolate truffles, and I'm telling you, they're really good and they're so easy. They're so easy. And
Okay.
so I'm going to get right started. I said I would make a trio of truffles. So I have here one that's coated in a little bit of luster dust, and this one is got some sesame seeds. This has some other stuff. So we're going to get going. The
Right.
very first thing I'm going to do is
That's okay.
take my bag of chocolate. I'm using a scale. You don't have to, but I'm doing a half recipe to the recipe that you have because I'm swimming in ganache. And so you can just, I really think everyone ought to have a digital scale. It makes what, you just keep zeroing things out and you kind of need one bowl.
Yes.
And over here, heating on the stove, this is like a stupid easy recipe, but I'm going to tell you the tips because chocolate is a bean. It's not a salad, but I'm telling you, you need to follow a few rules. So I'm going to tell you my favorite milk for making truffles. It is not the only one, is Oatly. And how I came to this was, hi, Kathy. I I make a couple of assumptions when I'm doing vegan desserts. Now, I have no dietary limitations except that I'm vegan, and I don't consider that a limitation at all. But I assume there'll be people who are allergic to nuts, let's say. So that leaves out almond milk. Almond milk makes great truffles. And I assume there are people who are soy avoiders, not me. I like soy. And I've been eating this way for over 25 years, and hello, I'm just fine. So, yeah, no, 4 grandchildren, no medicine. So
Oh my,
anyway, oat
wow,
oat
Fran.
milk, oat milk does it for me. So
Just so
you
you know, this woman is just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep cooking.
okay.
She
So
is
all
good
right.
Fran for a reason, y'all. Good makes Fran for a reason. Oh my gosh, take it away.
Yeah, so this is a chocolate that is from Taza, which is fair trade and ethical, and I'm really into using. It's not only vegan. You want to read your labels because some of the companies, the bean to bar, are getting bought by, the bigger guys, and all of a sudden milk will slip in. A lot of the chocolates that are quality chocolates say made on shared equipment. You decide how you feel about that. But if you buy chocolate from a company that only does dark chocolate, that doesn't make milk chocolate, is what I mean, then you're good to go. But I like Taza. It's fair trade. This is a couverture chocolate. So it's one, yes, full fat Oatly. So it's one that I use. Another thing that I do in my spare time is I just chop up a lot of chocolate in my food processor. And so it's ready to go because when you're making truffles, you want the chocolate to be able to melt quickly.
Okay, I love it.
That's a key. All I did was heat the Oatly until it was steaming. Now it's not boiling anymore. And I'm going to pour it. This is important. All at once. Don't trickle it in. Just
Oh,
all at once over the chocolate, twirl it
ooh,
around, and then ideally you cover it with a plate, let it hang out for like 2-3 minutes so that the chocolate melts slowly and is really creamy. Now, I want to tell you something. I had this like top traditional, I think we're traditional now, but let's say the butter sugar cream kind of pastry chef, very famous, say to me, I think you're right. He said, when you take the extra butter fat and dairy and all those heavy things out of I'm making truffles, but this is a ganache. So I'm going to do it a few different ways. He said, you taste the chocolate more. It's better. So one for our side, at least
ooh.
one
Yeah.
for our side. So the right chocolate to use is the one that tastes good to you right out of the package. But that said, the recipe will probably tell you a percentage. So I use 70 to 72% chocolate to make my truffles or to make my ganache. And that's a particular proportion. If you decide that you're going to use a 55% or a 50, it's not going to work without making some changes. Don't use chocolate chips. Save them for your, I'm just going to get this down a little bit. Save that for your cookies because they are made not to melt, actually. Not to melt. It's heat resistant chocolate. They're usually a lower quality, lower amount of cacao, which is the chocolate. And look, I'm done.
Ooh, yeah. It's just mixed up so even.
So I'm done, but I'm not done because that's it. You want to do a test. This is going in the fridge for 5 minutes because you want to make sure that the final consistency is what you want. If it's too firm, you'll add some more plant milk. If it's too soft, you'll melt up some chocolate and add some more chocolate. And that's it. Now, for my people who you can eat the entire bowl, I probably will. No, my non-vegan neighbors line up after I do a demo. So for my people who don't want to use any extra sweetener or any extra fat, I'm telling you, this is delicious.
Okay, Fran, while you are walking over there, hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch Break Live. We are here daily. We're going to have this story and more printable recipes on janeunchained.com. We come to you daily, 12:30, 365 days a week. Whoa, 12:30 Pacific. All right, Fran, we have a couple questions.
So okay, but let me just finish this.
Oh, please.
So for people who, so that's like your basic truffle, plant milk and a quality chocolate. I like adding a little bit of olive oil. Do as I say, not as I do. In other words, measure, but I'm not. And it makes it a little bit richer. You can add some sugar if you want. I don't. I think that it's not necessary. And I like some salt. So I don't worry about salt in my diet because I don't eat processed foods really. I mean, not never. I'm a big Beyond Burger person and I like my treats, but that's it. So this is my truffle ganache. And I'm just going to wait for the test. I'm not going to do that. I always have parchment paper around. And you know, we'll just see what happens. Okay, I'm ready for your questions.
Yeah, so a couple of questions. Can you tell us the brand of chocolates? People are curious, and where can you get them? And then also, tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is Taza, which is known, if you've seen the round chocolates, the Mexican style, that's what they're known for, but they've started doing a couverture. You can DM me on Instagram and I'll send you a link to the guy who will send you these big packages. You can get them on Amazon too. Don't get me started about chocolate. So these are all chocolates that I like. So this is Theo, which was the first bean to bar in the United States. This is Trader Joe's 73% dark, fair. These are all fair trade chocolates, which I like. Divine is divine. This is Whole Foods 71. It's very good. Equal Exchange. It's very good. And it goes on and on and on. Oh, and this is a milk chocolate, which I don't use for making truffles. But, you know, I mean, there's just an embarrassment of riches now. So I really, really like those. I like Valrhona. And I like Repubblica del Cacao. So those are pastry chef chocolates that you can get online, and everybody's going green. So everybody's going vegan, everybody's going transparent, everybody's going fair trade. We vote with our forks. That's what we do. So
yes. And then also, Tom was wondering how hot do you heat and how long do you heat the milk, the plant-based milk?
That's a good question, Tom. So a lot of recipes say with plant milk to keep it under the boil. I actually like to get it just to the boil. I think that the products last better. So either you look for those bubbles around the edges and some steam, and that's it. So it's pretty hot. So you want the milk to be hot enough to melt the chocolate. If it isn't hot enough to melt the chocolate, that's an easy problem. I always have on my stove, you might see that bowl, it's sitting over this much water. That's all. That's kind of simmering. And then you would put the mixture over that. That's my homemade bain marie water bath. And the chocolate will melt. You don't want to scorch the chocolate. And the reason I said to pour all at once, because chocolate and liquids, they don't get along. Except in my course, we have this thing called Breaks the Rules chocolate mousse, but that's a different story. So if you're making, that's a different story. And it is breaking the rules. Now, when you're making this ganache for truffles, and if you want truffles right away, you're out of luck. So what I do is I always have it in my freezer. This is some I made yesterday. I took some out and I thinned it with more plant milk because I also wanted pouring glaze. I wanted to be able to dip strawberries, fill raspberries, do all these really fun things. But now my ganache is set. So I will make some truffles. Now,
Okay.
Yes,
This is
go ahead.
so fascinating. Keep going. Keep going. This is amazing.
So let's say you're having company or you're treating yourself and you want different flavored truffles. Well, infuse the milk with spices. So I love truffle. My cookbook, Vegan Chocolate, has a whole chapter on truffles. You can infuse the milk with ginger powder, with ancho chili powder. Now, I will tell you that I am not a spicy food person. I just don't like spicy food. I mean, I don't tolerate it. Again, I'm trying. I'm pushing myself. But you infuse the milk with these flavors. Last night, don't laugh, I used rosemary from my garden, which is a very particular taste, but it was delicious. And then you strain the milk through a strainer. So you see what I did? I just took a little chunk. Now you can use a little scoop and get perfectly round balls. You can certainly do that. But I like truffles to look more homemade, like they're kind of namesakes, which are those, the truffles from those really expensive mushroomy kind of truffles.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so here's what you do with the truffles. This is cocoa powder. I like adding a little salt into the cocoa powder. This is a kind of a vegan, larger grain sugar, and I added some Suncore Food blue pea flour in here, and that makes a really pretty truffle. I always have cake crumbs in my freezer, so we can coat them in cake crumbs. We can coat them in sesame seeds, in cacao nibs, in chopped nuts, in coconut, blah, 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 whatever you want. So you do a couple at a time, you shake it around, and there's your truffle. There's your first truffle. If you're going to be keeping these in the freezer, which I do, these will stay in your freezer for like 3 months or more, either in this kind of a dish or already rolled. Then I do the cocoa powder and the coatings kind of afterwards. But let's just say that you have a taste for a ginger truffle all of a sudden, okay? But you didn't infuse your milk. This is what you can do. You take that truffle, you find your ginger powder, and you do a little cheat. So having said that, about the spicy, I love ancho chili truffles. So look, you're going to taste that as ginger, and it's pretty and it smells really good too. Or get a little piece of candied ginger and put it on the top. All of these things, by the way, this is also made with ganache. I just used a different proportion. I used more plant milk. So a little bit of a crostini. I've got a nice toasted baguette with some of the ganache glaze, a little bit of smoked crunchy sea salt that I got in Alaska on a vegan cruise. This is a little baby cake, a little cupcake. I eat dessert every single day. I just eat smaller portions and fill out the plate with fruit. That was dipped in ganache. It's another little piece of leftover cake that I dipped halfway into ganache. And then, you know, somebody fancy's coming over who thinks vegan is weird. You show them this plate, they're not going to think it's so weird. So there's a piece of
raspberries.
That is my best cake. This was Rip Esselstyn's wedding cake, the chocolate cake to live for, which was my breakthrough cake when I left the traditional kitchen. And I just, little gold luster dust, and I like to fill raspberries. Life is not too short to fill a raspberry with a little bit of ganache, throw it on a plate. I mean, you know, vegans have birthdays too and celebrations. And so there we go. So there's a ton of stuff that you can do with this. Here's a different way to look at a truffle. I took a date. You know what? I'm taking my gloves off now because I'm home alone and I'm going to eat these things. But I opened up a medjool date. I always look on the inside because every once in a while I get one that's a little, I mean, like once in 5 years, but it can happen that you get one that's black inside. You take the pit out. I took a truffle. I kind of made it a little on the oblong side. I stuffed the date and I put little walnuts there. Oh. Heaven. It's delicious. And, you know, and here's the other half. So it's really good. And it's really good for you. When you put dates in the freezer, they stay soft. They taste like caramel. So, you know, the way I look at this, chocolate has some benefits. I'm never going to tell you, go and eat, you know, like chocolate has phyto, this and that and the other thing. It's good for you. Eat your grains and beans and greens and things like that, and then save room for something like this. But if I'm in a nidgy mood and I like to have my chocolate every day, I think these truffles are healthier than just having a little square of chocolate because you've got the plant milk in here too, right? Yeah. So, and they're so creamy. Anybody can do it, but I just want to go over that with you again. Chop your chocolate small or buy chocolate that is already small pieces. It comes that way. Don't use chocolate chips to make ganache. You've got to do a little homework. That means you've got to taste some chocolate. Someone's got to do it. You might think all 70% chocolates taste the same. They don't. It depends on who made them, the bean to bar, the terroir, and all of that. So some taste actually sweet, some taste dark. We all have different palates. Heat the plant milk just to boiling, pick it up and pour it all at once over the chocolate. Don't trickle it in. If you trickle it in, the chocolate's going to seize and get hard. And maybe you can fix it. I mean, I could sort of fix it sometimes, but you don't want to get into that place where it's like, maybe I can, maybe I can't. Just wasted a lot of time and money and chocolate. We don't want to waste chocolate. So that's something that you can do. And then if you want to do two things at one time, you make the recipe for the truffle ganache. It's a particular proportion of chocolate and plant milk and maybe some fat, maybe some spices. And then let's say you want to do some dipping and glazing like I did. You want to make some crostini. You want to dip a piece of cake, just thin it, add a little bit more plant milk and do a little test. So my students are all like, they tell me they go away on vacation and I'm in their ear. Did you test? Did you test? Did you test? But here, now you can see that it's set. So that's good, but you still have to taste it because only you know what you want to make with this. So is it too firm? Is it too, is it too firm? Is it too soft. And as I said, that's so super easy to fix. The reason that I have this over here is if I needed to melt some more chocolate because my ganache wasn't as firm as I wanted it to be, then I'd add more chocolate. If it was too thick, I'd add some. Couldn't help it. Oh my goodness, that's good.
Okay, Kelly Kerr has been really wanting to know this question. How would it work with the homemade milk without adding thickeners? Do you have suggestions about if she's making her own homemade milk?
It should work. It's not the thickeners that make the difference when you're making the ganache. It's you want a plant milk that's got some fat in it. So oat milk does, for example, almond milk. I have a recipe for a truffle, a chocolate tahini orange truffle that's made with orange juice, which isn't going to have the fat, but the tahini is. You might need to add a little bit of fat to your homemade milk, but I've made them a lot. I also make cashew cream truffles, and that works really, really great. Okay, I hope that helps. So it's not about the thickeners. It's not about the gums. It's about the fat. I mean, I make things for a whole variety of people. I want everyone to be able to eat. And I mean, there are times that I'll say, look, if you can't have A, B, C to 10, how about we bake an apple or poach a pear? But mostly you can do it. So if you do those tests with your homemade milk, cut the recipe in half. Just use 2 ounces of chocolate and 1 ounce of milk and see what happens. That's all. That's a really easy thing to do. That won't be a problem.
This is amazing. You have the 90-day essential vegan desserts course. You are with the Ruby's online, the world's leading online cooking school. You have been doing this for over 25 years. This is an expert in the kitchen. Can you show us those truffles again? And we are going to send everybody over to find you for more segments and things that you're doing. And it's just so exciting.
Well, I'd love to. So yeah, I have been teaching for over 25 years, and 6 years ago, I had the thrill to be able to develop this 6-month online essential vegan desserts course. Ruby is amazing. So it's just the only course of its kind. You learn the techniques that mean you'll be able to do vegan desserts properly, because we don't want to go out there and then someone goes, yeah, I didn't think they were good, or you get frustrated that they're not good. They're good. And I have students all over the world, which is thrilling to me. And absolute beginners, I'm like, you have to take the sweaters out of your oven. The New York City people, you know what I'm talking about. I moved to Philly, but in New York, some of my clients were like, you want to bake, but you've got sweaters in your oven, take it out. And I have professional chefs too. And I have a lot of people who are not vegan, but they know this is the future. So they don't want to leave money on the table, or they've, for their health, for the animals. Once you learn things, you don't unlearn them. So, you give people one of these truffles. I like this one. You can also dip these in tempered chocolate if you want to bother tempering, or just melted chocolate. And then I do this kind of cheat thing that I call the hybrid method. If your chocolate cracks on your truffle, then dust it with cocoa powder. No one's going to know, but it's really yummy. But I'll tell you, Ruby was, this year got an award for being the top culinary school, and some organization, I don't remember who it was, maybe Live Kindly, just listed Essential Vegan Desserts course as the #1 vegan course. So it's really thrilling to me. I am so inspired by my students. Their very favorite assignment is Baked Alaska. We actually do a vegan Baked Alaska. It's mind-blowing. So, but here are the truffles. And then, they don't have to be perfectly round. This one I kind of made a flat bottom. And I'll tell you what, if you want to save time, like when I'm doing truffles for a giant crowd, I will pour my ganache. Look how much ganache I have all over the place into something so that it's flat, and then cut squares. It's fast, it's easy, it's delicious. So it's sort of like, and this, since I told you, you can thin the ganache to do other things with, that's what I did here. And I'm just keeping it warmish on the stove, and I'll probably do another test and, you know, spread another piece of baguette. I love those chocolate baguettes. When I was in Spain a long time ago, somebody gave me chocolate and bread and salt, and it seemed a little odd at the time, but I'm telling you, it's so delicious. So if you have people coming over and you don't have a cake in the freezer, like I always have a cake in the freezer, always, at least one, then you've got some bread, do it. I want to do one more thing for you if there's time.
Of course, we've got time for you. I mean, we've got the expert in the house, in the kitchen here. How exciting is this? You mentioned baked vegan Alaska, and you already have people lining up. They're already heading over to your house, by the way, lining up.
Okay.
Try this. Go ahead.
Come on over. Just remember to come into my building. You need a mask. So I have a chapter on ice creams in my book, and I see my giant ice cream machine is out, but this is Oatly ice cream, and it's really good. So you can make chocolate magic shell. That's really easy. But since I have that ganache just sitting on the back of the stove, what's a woman to do but to pour some over the ice cream?
Yes. Yes. Look at this. And Tina and Tom and Dominique. And who else is in here? We've got, oh my goodness, we have Sandy. Hi, Sandy. Yes, I'm sure you can add a liqueur, like a Kahlua and an amaretto.
Oh, yes. That's a great suggestion.
Yes. And Kelly.
You can add that. Just think of that as part of the liquid measurement. I mean, you wouldn't use a lot. It depends. I know that some liqueurs are stronger than others. So certainly do that. Certainly do that. I have this, what's his name? The dude. What movie was the dude? The Great Lebowski. I have a white Russian in my book, and it's very boozy, and it's really good. But chocolate milk. Ooh. New York eggless cream. I'm from Brooklyn. I make this ganache, and I make egg creams, black and white ice cream soda. Come on. I mean, there is nothing. I can't think of anything you can't do.
I'm hearing it.
Really. There's nothing you can't do. And it's good for you. It's good for you. This is, and put some nuts on here if you want to make it a sundae. Put some fruit on here if you want to do that. There's always this. There's always this plate too.
That is gorgeous. And where do you get the gold dusty powder? What is that?
Oh, so you get it in like a cooking kind of a store that sells cooking stuff. But you can also get it online, and it's called edible luster dust. It comes in a lot of different colors. I like the gold. I'm looking around here because sometimes when I get super organized, I kind of don't.
Luster dust. It just sounds gorgeous and
yeah,
luster
and then
dust.
with a little brush, and it takes everything. You could sell your desserts for more, or believe me, your friends and your family are going to say, "Oh my God, you did that? Really?" So,
Dominique has one more question for you. Could the ganache be formed into little cups?
No, because it has made with milk, so it's softer. For that, you're going to want to use melted chocolate. So what you can do is use it to dip fruit, for example, but not cups. And we have a chocolate dipping assignment. in the course that's kind of like, well, I mean, there might be somebody here, so I'm not going to say who's in the course, but it's a way to learn what you can do with ganache. Again, because this has milk in it, it's softer. So it's not going to hold up as cups, but go ahead and try and get back to me and let me know. I mean, you can, the thing is you want to make a very stiff ganache. Now, I use it to make a really French chocolate mousse, a light chocolate mousse, by folding the ganache while it's still in a more of a liquid state than that hard state where you make the truffles, into vegan meringue. But I'll make a thicker ganache. So I mean, it's kind of, you can do so many different things with it, as you can see. And on here, I mean, it kind of hardens, which is really nice. It's not the magic shell hard, but it gets hard enough. So go, like, everybody, seriously, this isn't even, there is just so much chocolate. Now today, vegan chocolates come sweetened with coconut sugar, with whole cane sugar like sucanat, with maple sugar. You have to decide if you like the flavor. I don't love the flavor of most of those, but some people will. There's also a lot of milk chocolates now. Vegan milk chocolates made with either coconut milk or almond milk are the most common ones. And they are more milk chocolatey, if you know what I mean. They're softer. Don't make ganache with that. But there's just so much choice. And it's so much fun to go to the store now and see, like, this embarrassment of riches that you can do. Pour some ganache into a little silicone mold if you have it, make a peanut butter filling, pour some more ganache on the top. Like, right? You got a nice little peanut butter cup there.
Woo!
Yeah, nice. And also you can do inclusions in your truffles. They don't just have to be on the outside. So, there are a lot of people who like raw, they'll say, well, I make truffles with dates and coconut and nuts. So those are yummy, but I don't call those truffles. I call those balls or nuggets, because to me, a truffle is it's a chocolate confection. And I want everyone from the outside who used to say, Fran's not a pastry chef anymore because she went vegan. Now they call me because they want to know, how do you do this? How do you do this? I mean, when I was a member of New York Women's Culinary Alliance, I brought my Brooklyn Blackout cake to an event, and they were very friendly about, vegan. But a few people said to me, oh, you're not vegan anymore? I'm like, the cake is just good. I mean, that is a chocolate cake. Well, I grew up near Ebinger's Bakery in Brooklyn. Chocolate cake with chocolate pudding in the layers, and then all around, and you throw crumbs on it. And that's like under the category of what could be bad, right? Yeah. I mean, chocolate cake and chocolate pudding is really good. So you want to do that, but you want to use these ingredients. And again, I would offer for people to go and look at foodempowerment.org. They keep a chocolate list, and they talk about the companies that are doing chocolates that are slavery free and ethical, because that's a big issue in chocolate production. I mean, I didn't know. You don't know till you know. Isn't that right?
Yes. And, I do better every day. Once we know, we get to do better and have more awareness as we move forward. Wow, Fran, we are so excited you joined us today, and everyone who's out there, thank you for joining us for Lunch Break Live today. And we're going to go out with one more look at those truffles, if you don't mind, because come on, I mean, there's so much going on here, but look at these, everybody, delectable, delicious. Oh my goodness, we are here with the expert, Fran Costigan, and you're going to go over to Ruby. You're going to head over to her Instagram, Good Cakes Fran. That is so much fun. Thank you, everybody, again for watching with us. We love you, and please come back for more. Head over to the website, janeunchained.com, for the printable recipe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.